All right, I want to welcome everybody out to our social spotlight or social learning live. We normally do this once a month, and so we are so excited tonight. Our topic is building Black wealth. And so, what we want to talk about tonight is how important it is for us to be able to educate each other and inspire each other with our own personal journey. There's no way in the world we can all be great at everything, right? So you have different people that have learned how to be great in their particular areas. And so what we want to do is shine a light tonight on them so they can give us knowledge and allow us to see which our best path. So tonight we have Terrell Jolly. He is an amazing real estate investor here in town. He does property management. If you don't mind, tell them a little bit about yourself. Give them your 1 minute or 30-second elevator spiel on who you are and what you do.
Yes, thanks again for the opportunity. My name is Terrell Jolly. I'm the owner of Integrity Capital Management, where we manage every aspect of real estate for investors. Those that don't know what to figure out, we can figure everything out. Also work on the sales side too for acquisitions. And I also building out a personal portfolio under Jolly and Associates and Legacy Asset Group. Legacy Asset Group focus more on commercial in conjunction with affordable housing. And Jolly Associates is focused in on single family homes and scaling it as an incremental developer.
I love it, man. I love it. We're going to go deep into your mind because when it comes to having a lot of faith and making things happen in real estate, you are the go-to person that I always talk about. So keep up the amazing work. We're looking forward to getting inside your head. Next person on the panel, Kenneth Stone. Me and Mr. Stone go way back. We've known each other for what, about 25 years now, man?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We do.
Yeah. So we both love God. We both love family, and we both love making a difference. So Ken, tell us a little bit about, who you are. I know you pretty well, but let everybody else know who you are and kind of your 30-second elevator spiel.
30 seconds. All of that in 30 seconds, Claude. Okay, I'll try my best. Okay. Right now, I'm working with UMB. I've had probably over 25, 30 years in the financial sector, doing mortgage loans, managed a mortgage company, and just have a passion now for helping our community improve our credit. As a community banker, now I'm working with United Missouri Bank, who is commonly known now as UMB. I work there as a community mortgage banker, and as a banker, I work in the private, public, and nonprofit sectors on specific programs and policies to help improve access to housing through mortgage financing. And I also do financial education classes to nonprofit agencies, and mostly talking about credit restoration and how credit restoration, how important it is in accessing wealth.
Yes. And it's very important. We're going to go deeper into that too. So we are graced in the building. When he first came on behind the scenes, we said we were going to throw some rose petals out like he was from Coming to America. The King has entered the building, A. Donahue Baker. So yes, grateful that you came out. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Yeah, sure. I'm A. Donahue Baker. I am CEO of the wealth building platform Money Avenue, and I'm also a CPA. I'm also a real estate developer with a portfolio of over 500 units. And in addition to that, I'm also the proud father of Legacy. That's my son. So I'm really passionate about this generational wealth thing here because that's my life. That's what I live. And I'm excited and thankful to be among such esteemed guests as you guys.
We're grateful for just being able to see your life and see what's possible. And then we're going to go over to Daryl. Daryl, tell us about who you are. I know I met you about maybe 3 weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago. Very well versed when we were on that platform with the guy with Shock Tracker. So we both were around a guy that got $11.7 million, which is pretty interesting for his business. So tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Okay, I'm Daryl Johnson, or otherwise known as Uncle Phil, the billing credit man in the city. I background similar to Kenneth. Spent 10 years in the brokerage world working for Charles Schwab. another 10 years in the banking world, done short sale negotiation, foreclosure, loan origination. I've done it all. Spent another 10 years in the banking world. Drive-by appraisal company, BPO company. Me and my sister did that for a while. About 4 years ago, stepped out, started Business Credit Works because I wanted to put business owners in position to protect their families. By structuring that debt and tying it to the company's EIN number, it gives them more options. So I tell people I'm here to give you options and just have conversations and plant seeds on how to do things smartly and differently, and sometimes slow down to go faster. Because we get so excited about what we do, but there's sometimes better ways to do it and mitigate your risk. So I've come with that banking and brokerage background. I recently just stepped back into corporate America. Actually, took a project on with B&W Mellon Wealth Bank out of New York. So that's been an eye-opening experience. Working with that wealth management side of things. So I'm just here to help the community, educate any way I can. Got some other projects I'm working on, but I'm glad that we met. Glad to meet everyone. Looking forward to it.
Yes, yes. And last but not least, Darion. He is the younger version of A. Donahue. He's the young, hungry guy that wants to make a difference out here.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes, sir. I'm 28 right now. Let's say I feel like I've tried a lot of different things being 28. You know, been in the sales field, door-to-door sales, real estate right now, Forex trading, getting into stocks, just trying different things to feed the family because I was a single dad, going actually into college, being one of the best running backs in Kansas. And then came back, had a kid, and my baby mother kind of left me. And like I said, I had no other lead but football, so I just went out here and tried everything I could to make money, and then my grandparents are very successful people also. And so she knows Claude, so that's kind of how we know each other because she worked with you for a very long time. So I just, I appreciate the opportunity to, hear how successful you guys are. It motivates me to do the same.
I love it. I love it. And we have another young lady that has entered the building, Mrs. Mika. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Mika. I'm so happy to see you here. Oh, maybe she doesn't hear me. I think she's having loading issues. We'll come back. So let's throw the first question out that I want to kind of get this conversation started with. I'll throw this one to A. Donahue. Can you tell me in your own words, what does wealth mean to you? And I want to see if everybody can interject on the same question.
Yeah, wealth is really, really the difference between being able to utilize your utmost potential and not being able to utilize your utmost potential, right? Because there's many different levels. For me personally, it's all about generational wealth, what you can pass on and give to your kids, your children. What I was able to do to create generational wealth in my family was simply I mentioned legacy. When he was 2, I set up a trust. With that trust, I purchased a 6-unit apartment building in Newark, New Jersey. From that 6-unit apartment building, 2 things are going to happen for him in his life. The first thing is that 6-unit apartment building is going to pay for his college education should he want it to be, should he just choose to go to college. The second thing it's going to do is it's going to allow him to not be forced into anything he doesn't want to be forced in. It's going to allow him to utilize his utmost potential, his God-given talents to choose a career profession that he chooses to, and he's going to have a base, something very simple, but that's what I consider wealth, in particular generational wealth. What could you pass on and giving your children or giving the next generation a head start? That's what it means to me.
And I think we lost Claude.
Yeah, we think we checked out. So somebody else want to moderate so we don't have a bunch of silence on there?
Well, I guess we go at the same question. What does wealth mean to go that around the table with that?
Okay, let's follow up. How about
and I'm back. The computer tried to take me out, but I'm back. But real quick, you can't stop me. Real quick, you said something that was major that I want to kind of unpack real quick before we go to the next person. You said that you bought investment property and you wanted to give your son options, right, to either go to college or pursue something else. So what got you to think that way? Because a lot of times as Black people, we have had moments where we came into a lump of money and we did not buy an asset. We bought something that's a liability. So what got you in the mindset that acquiring assets was just as important than maybe going out trying to prove to everybody that you've arrived?
Number one, it's standing on the shoulders of giants, standing on the shoulders of people that were before us. I came from a very biblical family, right? And in the Bible, after you're given life, the next most important thing that you are given is land, real estate. If you look at it from that perspective, it was the Garden of Eden. It was the promised land. Real estate is the most important thing that if you look at 90% of millionaires, they own real estate. So building wealth, I think you need to incorporate real estate into that equation. And the method that I used to build real estate was very simple. Buy real estate, asset that really pays for itself. Like all of my buildings, all of my properties, my tenants pay my mortgage, my tenants pay my insurance, my taxes. And after all of that's paid, there's something left over for me and my family to live on. And every single year, I'm guaranteed to make more money than the previous year as long as I continue to buy. I don't know no other wealth creation vehicle that's as simple as that, right? Simple as finding an undervalued asset, buying it, being a landlord, and collecting rent and living rent-free and building wealth that way and passing it on to your children. Very simple.
That's good. That's Terrell. We're going to throw you an alley-oop. He that's in your lane. So go ahead, speak on that, man.
The thing I always tell people about real estate, this is the only legit game that I know you can create money out of thin air, right? It's just that beautiful. I started out on the property management side, and I literally started with $350, right? But I was able to understand the aspect of investing and putting hard work behind it. The strategy that I particularly follow to create the wealth that Mr. Baker described is I believe in the BRRRR strategy: buy, rehab, rent, refi, and repeat. To get that, it's just the sweetest part to me, because essentially you're flipping a property to yourself through a cash out refi. And then that aspect, you have somebody else paying your mortgage and put some cash in your pocket, and you just keep repeating. My mindset right now, it might sound weird, but I want to go broke in real estate. Every time I'm making some cash, I'm going right back in there to acquire more properties after properties after properties. And the thing is, I think often in our communities, we don't have the relationships we need with banks, right? Understand what it really means to have a relationship. If you focus on that key aspect of having a relationship and really understanding how to keep the paperwork in order, what is a balance sheet? What is your personal financial statement looks like? What does the credit score look like? How is your Dun and Bradstreet number? How is that leveraged? If we don't focus on those key aspects within our community, we forever gonna have the equity, the equity that we don't supposed to have. But once you learn the game, it's just the most freest feeling in the world. It's like I feel invincible sometimes. But I always have to humble myself and understand the aspect that I'm only a steward over it. This is not mine. This is all God. So all I simply do is try to be a good steward over it and be a blessing to those around me, because not only is it real estate, you're creating job opportunities for people. And that to me, that is the biggest blessing in itself alone, is to be able to have that opportunity to create jobs for others else, and also to lead to my family and my son. He's 3 years old, but I take him to every walkthrough that I have. I see him. I'm surprised he's not running here right now, jumping in my lap. But I show him every aspect of the game so he can just be embodied around it.
I love it. So you're doing an alley-oop to Daryl. Daryl, he said, I know you heard me because I could see your head kind of doing like this. He talked about credit and how a lot of times people don't have their paperwork in order. So kind of walk through the hurdle or the roadblocks that's stopping people from getting to that next level, like A. Donahue and Terrell are.
The other hat that I wear, I'm a direct lender as well as being a broker. So putting that hat on, I tell people you got to come to the party with something. If you just have personal credit and it's not together, I can only work with what you bring me. So in leveraging business credit, it gives people more options. So because your company can buy cars, real estate, everything is in the company's name. We've got lenders out there that will lend directly to a healthy company. And to get to that point, typically your business has to be in business for 3, 5 years, revenue in the door to qualify to get a loan, along with a credit score. I work with Dun& Bradstreet, Experian, and Equifax to get a credit score on those 3 platforms. I'm not sure if you guys are aware with the business credit score also going for government contracts. That's big money. You get a government contracts, minority-owned business, they're going to look at your Dun & Bradstreet credit score. So there's other options out there for real estate and government contracts, but everything goes back to credit and bookkeeping. And those are foundational pieces for all of our businesses. And it's so frustrating when someone comes to me with the light in their eyes to start their business and the planning hasn't been there. So that's where education comes in to start looking at their consumer credit, getting that together, taking the business credit course, enrolled in a business credit plan, getting with my bookkeeper on QuickBooks to start putting paperwork together, because if it's not a paper trail, it doesn't exist in our world. So I can only work with what you bring to the table. That's why it's so important. I tell people to go slow, to go fast. Just work on your consumer credit, your business credit, and your bookkeeping. It'll set your business on fire a year from now, just focusing on those 3 little pieces. And in a year's time or even less, you'll have more options at the table as opposed to jumping out, starting your business, starting a project, and then scrambling to try to figure out where the resources are coming from to then complete it. Just have that out the way. Just prepare and plan, have it out the way. You're going to make different decisions based off knowing your money and your credits lined out. And the opportunities that come across your desk probably bigger because you've prepared yourself for them. So I'm a big proponent
Yeah.
on credit and bookkeeping.
So I know, Ken, you're going to go deep into the personal credit. So I'm going to kind of pivot away from that. But let's just hit on the wealth side. I want to tap into your wisdom. What does wealth mean to you? Not credit, we're going to go down that path. But what does wealth mean to you as a Black man?
Well, first I want to say, man, that I am just learning. I feel like I'm just sitting at the feet of all this knowledge. I'm just soaking in the knowledge from Brother TJ and Brother Darrow, and everything that you guys have learned in your experience. I love just seeing all the brothers coming together and looking down at trying to build wealth, generational wealth. I love that idea that you had, brother, about buying that 6-unit building for your son, man, because that is going to set him up forever. And you're showing him and teaching him at the same time, man. I love that. That's how we have to work in the community. Wealth, everyone talks about the generational wealth gap. And, I have really been pounding on that at where I work at UNB, that we have to do more in the community as far as fighting that generational wealth gap that we have now. I try to do it through financial education because I think education is the key. Working with a group now where we're starting financial education classes as low as down in the 3rd and 4th grade at schools and on up through the high schools, because I have ran into situations, Daryl, I'm sure you probably have also, where I've had young couples come into my office looking to buy their first home, and their credit is already messed up. And it's basically because we have not taught. You know, my parents didn't know, they didn't teach me. I had to learn it all on my own. And so, as long as that is happening, we're going to continue to struggle. So, if we go in and we're starting to teach these young kids, and Claude, what you're doing, man, is so important. With the college network. So, if we go in and we're laying that foundation young when these kids are in grade school and junior high school, then we can stop a lot of the mistakes that I see when they come in and they're trying to buy a house or trying to get themselves established, but they're already behind the eight ball because of the mistakes that they've made. And some of the mistakes that they've made come from their parents.
Right.
Most of the mistakes they made come from their parents.
Yes.
They come in thinking that their credit is straight and they got a light bill on their credit score and they ain't never had utilities in their name.
Right.
But they got a light bill collection that their mama didn't pay from 10 years previous that was put into their name when they were 8 years old. So yeah, I've seen all of that, and it's really bad. It's really bad. We've got to do things. We've got to do something about that.
So tonight, let's paint a picture, because a lot of times we'll see that when we get on podcasts like this, we'll talk and I hate it when we get on there and we just talk forever and ever about the problem. And so I really want to get into the tactical part that can inspire people to get towards the solution and what's possible for their lives. So let's paint a picture real quick for them of what's possible. So I'm going to jump to A. Donahue, then I want to go over to TJ. But you stated that you have 500 units. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And I saw your podcast that you did where you actually started your own bank, Money Ave. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So I want you guys to really listen to what I just said. This man has 500 units. That means 500 different people, if I'm not mistaken, are that you're responsible for because of the properties that you own. And because you have oversight and management over those properties that you own, they actually pay you every month a rent. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Okay. Some people can't even see themselves owning one property. You have 500, 500 doors, right? And then you leverage that to move into owning your own bank. Can you allow us to move into your mind just for a little while to see how you think? What caused you to go above just looking at status quo, getting a 9-to-5 job, making $50,000, $100,000, $200,000 a year? What caused you to have, because it wasn't always easy to build what you built and to take the risks that you've taken. So can you walk people through the path that you charted for yourself and how you overcame some obstacles?
Absolutely. Number one, the bank is started because I want to give more people the opportunity to become millionaires, right? And I say that because many people don't even think it's possible to become a millionaire. But I'm here to tell you, you have to be a millionaire in this world because of the fact that $1 million today will not be worth $1 million tomorrow. And I believe that everyone should have a number of 1.4 million, come up with a plan to get there, and then you can at least have a basis from which you can pass something on to your children. So I'm going to walk you through the steps. It's really 6 different levels, right? If you want to understand the mindset, if you want to understand how to do it yourself, how to replicate it, it's 6 steps, right? And that's how we break things down into 6 different levels. I'll take you through the 6 levels. The very first level is the level in which we call the thousandaire level. At the thousandaire level, we live in the most wealthy country right now, there's more wealth being created today than ever before in the history of mankind, right? So if we have at least a goal to say, stop living paycheck to paycheck, everyone should be able to earn at least $100,000 a year. That should be your goal. That's how we get there. The question is how, right? Through our partners, if you sign up with our bank, you can sign up at bankmoneyav.com. We have a partner that is willing to train anyone that takes the 3-month-long training program and give you a job, guaranteeing you to make at least $100,000 a year in coding. It's a technology company. To me, it's a way that we can change the lives of our community. Sign up for Bank Money App. You're going to get more information about that. But level one is literally stop living paycheck to paycheck. Aim to earn at least $100,000 a year. I did it myself because I went to college. I got a CPA. I got a job. I was able to position myself where I worked at another firm and I learned a skill, a high value skill that allowed me to earn $100,000 a year. What is so important about that level? Now, as a CPA, when I got into private practice and I had clients, what I learned is that even the people who had a high paying job that paid $100,000 a year, when they lost their job, and matter of fact, we all lose our jobs at some point, right? It's whether you want to voluntarily or involuntarily, but when they lost their job, they still were able to make that $100,000 a year threshold because they had high value skills, right? So level one, thousandaire level. Shoot for that as a target, right? Stop living paycheck to paycheck, because if you live paycheck to paycheck, you won't have the mentality, the mindset to think bigger. So that's number one. Number two is what we call the rent-free lifestyle. If you live the rent-free lifestyle, it simply means that if you make your first home purchase a multifamily home purchase, instead of going for the dream home, go for a multifamily home, at least a duplex. I did a duplex where I lived in one side, rented out the other, right? But you could do, through the FHA program, you could do up to a 4-unit, right? But imagine if that's your first purchase. You do that, you live in that for a year, you're guaranteed. Statistics will show that you're guaranteed. If you do that first, before you get the dream home, you're guaranteed, or your chances will improve to become a millionaire, right? But there has to be that first purchase as opposed to waiting for it later on to jump in, because people's number one expense is their rent or their mortgage, right? So if you can eliminate that, living the rent-free lifestyle, you have free income to increase the velocity of your money, right? That's level two. Level three in the mindset is just this, and we try to show this at the bank. You bring your personal credit score to 720. You lock it, right? Your personal credit score, you lock it at 720, and you live exclusively through an LLC. The reason why that's important is because understanding how this country works, understanding that you need debt and you need to acquire debt to purchase income producing assets that allow you to build wealth, you need to have a platform in which you can do that safely. So I talk a lot about Donald Trump. Donald Trump has over 500 LLCs, but he's able to understand that he can leverage each LLC to get millions of dollars. He's filed for bankruptcy 4 times, but that's never damaged his personal credit profile. So we need to look at business credit as a way in which we can leverage and create more creators, more entrepreneurs, more real estate developers. All of that should be done through an LLC. So when I say live exclusively through your LLC, that means go out, be an entrepreneur, take a risk, establish that through your LLC. Now, at our bank, what we do is for every LLC, we give you at least $50,000 of business credit so you can prove the concept of your business. That's what we do at Money Avenue. That brings us to level 4. Level 4, and it's not a joke, but what I say is that after you've proven the concept of your business, go out and spend $1 million. Get $1 million in debt. And I'm not talking about spending on vacation, cars, and clothes. What I'm saying is use that $1 million that you built up through your business to buy income producing assets. That's what I did, right? I basically bought apartment buildings all through credit. This was leverage, right? But what you have to do is what are you purchasing? My strategy is purchasing value add real estate. I never pay market value for anything, so I buy defect properties, but I use that $1 million line of credit to get in debt, right? But I get in debt as much as I want because each property I buy pays for itself. It pays for itself. So
real quick, because you're on a whole nother level. I love your mindset. Real quick. I want to run with you, but I want to make sure that mentally people can get to where you are as they continually go to what's possible. So thank you for painting this picture. This is exactly what I was hoping for. So I say I do like that as a guy, like, thank you very much for doing that. But the one thing you said that you just kind of glossed over, you said defer living your best life and put yourself in position to build wealth. That's the biggest problem that a lot of Black people have, is because we feel like we finally got a good job. We finally graduated from college. We want to prove to the world that we have arrived, right? Depending upon, because a lot of us, really, I don't know if you're the first person in your family to become a millionaire, but a lot of people, a lot of Black people, if you make it to that point, you're probably one of the first to actually do it, right? So everybody's coming to you, asking you for money and stuff like that. Mentally, maybe you didn't have to go through that, but mentally, how did you keep yourself locked in on the plan? Because everybody has a plan, but then life comes and then we start justifying why we're not going to follow it. Can you walk us through mentally how you stay true to the plan, and then we can jump back over to 4? I just want to see mentally what was your thought process like?
So the question really hit the nail on the head. It's like there's so many distractions, but at each level, you just focus on one thing. At level 1, focus on being a thousandaire. At level 2, just focus on getting that first income producing property that pays for your living expenses. At level 3, focus on building your business credit, getting your personal credit right. Just focus on one thing. When you try to do too much, it gets crazy, right? And then at level 4, focus on finding those value add opportunities. Focus on finding those income producing properties that are going to pay for itself, and don't sell them. Hold on to them. Why would you sell a property that is going to consistently give you income so you don't have to go out and work? That's really the key. You just focus on one thing at each individual level, and then at each level, there's different strategies within it. So for me personally, I set a goal out to say I wanted to double the number of units I had every single year. And that way, if I'm able to do that, I can guarantee that I'm always going to be making more money this year than I did last, because all I have to do is do one deal a year. That's it. One deal a year, right? And then we could talk further about strategies, how I'm able to find properties, locate them, and all that. But the idea is just focus. Be singular in your focus, singular in your mission, singular in even how you set up your LLCs, right? And then I'll jump in at level 4. We said the $1 million in debt, go out and buy $1 million of income producing properties. And then at level 5, the debt that you got into at level 4, that debt turns into equity, because your tenants will pay off the debt and you'll still have the asset. And every 5 years, like I do, you can pull equity out of the properties and you can, live off the equity. The tenants will still pay it and you'll still be getting paid. And then at level 6, the final level, the level of generational wealth creation, what we do is really focus on how do we transfer that wealth that we've created in level 1 through 5 onto our children, right? I told you what I did for my son, but it's really about life insurance. You can't talk about generational wealth if you don't talk about life insurance, if you don't talk about a trust, if you don't talk about a 1031 exchange, how you pull money out and trade up to get bigger properties. All of these things are really important when you're talking about wealth and you're talking about generational wealth. That's really the key. Get into that mindset, and that's what is going to produce the most fruit for you, having that strategy.
So are you at your max with the 500 units, or did you know that was what you were looking to acquire, or did you just kind of let that organically happen to get to that point?
No, one deal a year. The deal I did last year was I bought a 100-unit apartment building, right? Then I realized at some point in time, you've got to start developing. In order for me to get bigger, I needed to create real estate now, or create development projects. So I focused on now, I'm buying land and I'm putting up apartment buildings. I'm working on a deal right now. We're building 200 units, so the idea is you have to just creatively, if you focus on one thing, you're gonna find different paths, and that's really the key. Is doing things that are creative and having the freedom to think and really use your creative sensibilities. That's what brings you to that level.
I love it. I love it. You are a breath of fresh air just to see what's possible. So let's jump over to you, TJ. You see the blueprint here. So what are you building, and kind of walk us through what that looks like for you following the steps?
Well, I guess mine is kind of twofold. One thing I recently did is I mentioned my son is 3 years old, but he's an employee at Jolly and Associates. Because what a lot of people don't realize is that you can employ your kids, right? So he's a great marketing strategy. So I could pay him up to $1,200 and some change a year, and I could put it in a Roth IRA, and that Roth IRA I can also leverage that against real estate for him. So I want him to have that option as when he get ready to graduate high school, he can already be a couple steps away from being a millionaire, because he gonna have some assets, he gonna have some cash flow, and he gonna be able to show a long lifting time of being employed. So that's one thing I'm thinking is strategically into him. I set personal goals and stick to them, right? I'm 37 years old. My goal is to be at a certain amount of doors by the time I'm 40, by the time I'm 50. It's about how do you scale that into where everything is totally cash flowing through the tenants paying off the assets. And also, the most important thing to me, what wealth really represents to me in a grand scheme of things is time. That's what it really ultimately, each time I acquire an asset, each time I acquire a building, each time I get a different play into my toolbox, the number one I think about is the time that I'm getting back to do the things that I want to do, so I don't have to do the things I have to do. And a lot of, I think, in entrepreneurship and wealth and a whole realm of things, I think often people focus on working in a business instead of on their business. So my whole focus is how to structure everything I do to work on my business. So that might be, I can't handle my books and pull clients in the door. So I have a CPA for that. I can't open every door for every prospective tenant. I have a staff member that does that, different things. So to me, it's about looking at this thing as a whole holistic approach and looking at the end goal and staying the course. The other misconception that I think people don't really realize is that this thing is a long game. This is a long game. People think, we have Instagram, we have all these social media platforms or whatever. They think like this stuff been overnight. It doesn't happen overnight. I feel like I'm still early in the game, but I've been grinding at the real estate thing since early 2011. But I took my losses, and I get excited about failure. That's the other aspect. I really get excited about it because I know a blessing right around the block. Every time I fail, I always fell into something that's bigger and better than I could ever expect. I saw a clip the other day, and it was so true from the aspect that millionaires lose thousands to get to the million dollar level. Millionaires do millions to get to where they got to go, and those losses have proven to me that each time that loss has came, it's scaling me to another level. But the number one thing is people do not stay the course. One day they selling insurance, the next day they're a stockbroker, the next day they a real estate developer. I mean, they don't stay the course. They own the next trend. So the thing about it is, if you want to see true wealth, some true results, it's all about consistency and staying the course.
You said a mouthpiece when you said that, because it's about mastery. And then when A90 was talking about the 6 levels, and now you're looking at how do you not just rehab properties and try to take their appreciation, the value of the properties up by cash flow, but now you're like, how do I create my own by the properties that you get? So I want to go now real quick over into the quick personal credit side, because unless I'm wrong on this, but correct me if I'm wrong on this. The Dr. Field of not the Dr. Field, but the Uncle Field of credit. do you need to have good personal credit before they start working on business credit, or can they come in with personal credit that's shaky and still establish business credit with personal credit that has issues? Like, Ken and walk us through that.
I,
Daryl.
I definitely will. Before I say that, A. Donahue, love it. Donahue, wow, 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 wow. Stay the course. That is the hardest part for us, is to stay focused on getting their credit together. 6 months, 8 months, however long it takes just to get the credit together, and to strategically map out step by step on how to do those things. So, yeah, amazing. Loved hearing that. With business credit, you don't have to have good personal credit. You can establish credit from vendors and companies that extend lines of credit, and they report to the credit reporting agencies. That's the big thing, is knowing who reports to the credit reporting agencies when you are applying for credit in your EIN number. The two credit profiles, they never see each other per se. And I say per se because in certain strategies, you do want to leverage your personal credit to get to next levels. And that's usually a more advanced strategy. Especially, I've got one program, yeah, with a good score, you can get some cash right away. But you really want to have those credit profiles in both in good shape overall. So I get people that want to come in and focus on the business credit and not do their consumer credit. I'm all about balance and options. You really need to have both together, and you need to understand the power that business credit is putting you in, the position is putting you in, because it's game changer, it's next level. Every company in America leverages credit. And so many times in the community, we think of credit as a bad word. When I first got out of corporate America and started talking to people about credit, you would have swore that I just slapped their mama talking to about credit. Credit is pain. It's embarrassment. It's a shame. It's I didn't know. I wasn't taught. Or it was, as I said, my baby mama drama, whatever. Okay, but don't let that stop you from taking action and enrolling in a credit program with Mr. Ken and getting business credit. Start and stay the course. 1 year, just staying the course will put you light years ahead. I can't stress that enough. It's just get that consumer credit, business credit, bookkeeping in place, foundational business credit 101, in my opinion, core items together. Then the rest of the time,
Okay.
you're smooth sailing.
Which is key. So before we jump to Ken, because Ken is going to give us a solution to what we got to get through. This is for Daryl and A. Donahue. You're a direct lender, Daryl. A. Donahue, you have the bank, and so you're basically working directly with all the money as well. When someone comes into your institution and they need to get a business line of credit, right? And you're saying if they got an LLC, you can help them get $50,000. What kind of personal credit do they need to have in order for them to even have that kind of conversation with you?
You just to me, or are you speaking to Daryl?
You can go, Donahue.
Either one.
Yeah. So mine is real simple. There are no requirements for our credit program. We help people to get money, to start businesses, to get out there, purchase real estate. It is not connected to your personal credit profile at all. We definitely are a big proponent of using your business credit to go out and start business, not your personal. So our program really just focuses on having an LLC. Did you set it up right? What is the single purpose of your LLC? What is the structure? What's your business? We're talking about real businesses here that we can create entrepreneurs. That's what that money is for, so that they can put in their business. And then once we have further like tax returns and things like that, that's when we can get like $1 million lines of credit and go much higher to really, really scale a business.
I love it. So, and what kind of, when you say tax returns and things of that sort, what kind of revenues do you like to see? Are you looking at the total revenue of the business?
Yes,
Are you
so
looking at the net income? Okay.
absolutely. That first 50,000, there's really no revenue required. But when you're talking about going for the high value lines of credit, you should at least, be making you should be making at least 70K in revenue a year. You should have at least 2 years of tax returns. You also should, the business should be somewhat thriving. You should have a business that you can show some financials to show a good trajectory to say, well, look, we need more capital to grow. Like bankers understand this, right? So whatever idea, whatever business you have, the bottom line is if you have proof of concept, that's why I say if you've proven that your business is viable, you can get money, right? The problem is most businesses don't have that. So it becomes harder. And most entrepreneurs, what they do is when they need money, they leverage their personal credit. And that's the worst thing you can do, because if your business goes through a calamity like COVID or something like that, you know what?
Yes.
You blow up your whole household, you threatened all your personal assets. Everything is in jeopardy and you don't have any options. But the best time to get money is when you don't need it. The best way to do it is have multiple businesses and don't use your personal credit score. Always keep that looking pristine so it always looks like you don't need money.
And that's the best time to get money is when you don't need it.
And you don't need it. And understand, another reason why we say lock your personal credit is because your credit is your credibility.
Yes.
It's your credibility. And when you damage your personal credit, you've damaged your credibility. And when you're looking to do $1 million deals and a lot of times your partners that you may be partnering with, they don't know you. So what do? They look at your credit. They look at your credit, right? So your credit should tell a story. Your credit should give you a good depiction of a person with credibility, person that has responsibility, person that pays their debts. That's really how someone feels safe to give you a loan, safe to go into business with you. Even if they're not depending on your personal credit through your business, they still may look at your personal credit.
Gotcha. And you want to see that at a 720.
720 is a credit score that if you bring it to 720, lock your personal credit, live exclusively through your business, it's a perfect credit score because everything you want to do through your personal or on your personal credit profile, you can do through a business, right? And if you set up the right business, it becomes a tax deduction, right? It becomes a way in which you not only build out your business credit, but you're also able to write things off against your tax liability is reduced because you can write things off against profit.
What I just heard, and I want to jump over to Ken. I just heard that you can now basically partner with banks with the right personal credit to leverage with your business, and you don't have to have $200,000 in the bank. But if you have the right credit, you can start with a $50,000 line of credit. And then with that line of credit, you can start generating proof of concept. And as proof of concept has been fulfilled and you start earning revenue and you do your paperwork, as Daryl was talking about, the right way, now you're starting to leverage up and put yourself in position to get access to more money. Is that pretty much what you're saying?
Absolutely.
Well, could I add on to that? And I want to preference by saying banks. In A. Donahue's case, definitely a bank, but the traditional bank that we know of is not going to do that. The traditional bank is they're risk adverse. They want the good credit scores. So alternative lenders, fintech lenders typically have different loan programs out there available. So based off your revenue in the door, there's a loan product for you. Time in business is a loan product for you. It's not all about the bank. So that's the other thing too. And I say this from personal experience. Early on in life, I went to a bank. I was young. Credit score wasn't there. It can deflate your ego going to the bank after bank after bank and coming back home. I was in Phoenix for 20 years and LA for 5, coming back home and hearing all the bank stories, traditional banks, and getting turned down. Banks still want a certain type of lender, whereas looking at a Donahue's program, fintech lenders in that creative space, there's now there's credit that you could get where it's tied to the money running through your bank account. That helps you build a credit line based on the money going through your bank account. And that's where the fintech lenders come into place, because they're coloring outside the lines of traditional credit to help build that. There's one company, Kick. They give you $12 and you make a payment each month, because part of that consumer credit score is 35% goes to payment history. Doesn't say how much you have to pay. By making that payment once, $1 a month, it's helping you build your consumer credit. And that's a fintech lender. Fintechs are coming in big and strong and coloring outside the lines of traditional credit. So I just want to really make sure that the traditional banks is what typically we know is not going to be so open, and because they want a specific lender, whereas A. Donahue is definitely in that space where he's creative and put outside the lines and made programs that fit the market. So I applaud him for that.
Yeah, absolutely. If I could just
say one thing?
I just wanted to, I'm sorry. No,
Go
I was going to piggyback off exactly what Darryl said, that we have a program that's really targeted and it's done really well for us in communities that are kind of quote unquote banking deserts, where there's lots of check cash in place, pawn shop at Money Avenue. You can get anywhere from $500 to $10,000 in as little as 3 hours, just filling this out through our fintech, so he's absolutely right. It's really the smaller banks that are trying to disrupt the bigger banks that are coming up with these creative ways to get entrepreneurs their money. That's it.
Exactly. Because I've been in the traditional banking world, where you've got to have that certain credit profile, time in business, and good personal credit, where the fintechs they're just disrupting the game. They're changing it.
They don't have.
I'll tell you what, the game needs to be disrupted. The game needs to be disrupted. I've been in banking for so long, and the banks have become so risk adverse.
Yes.
And with COVID-19, when COVID-19 hit, the credit scoring almost came to a halt. We had to where someone could get a score, an FHA loan normally with a 620, it went off the board. You could not even qualify for an FHA loan because the credit score, you had to have a 760 or 780, which is ridiculous to even get in the game to qualify for an FHA loan. And that's because the banks became so adverse to this COVID-19. They just tightened up all of the credit. So yeah, there needs to be a shakeup, So I really like the other form of banking that the brother is doing, Donahue. I love that bank. I love what you're trying to do, because big banks are very conservative and they're becoming more conservative. And both of you said, Darryl, you said earlier, the key to first thing I learned in banking is that banks want to loan money to people that don't need it. That is the key to banking. You have to show the bank that you really don't need the money.
No, I'm good. I don't need it.
Yeah, they want to throw it. They throw it at people that don't need it. But I think, Claude, you would ask about some basics on personal credit, because I really deal with people down in the trenches. I deal with people where they are. A lot of the people that I talk to in some of these nonprofit agencies have been a step away from homeless, and they're looking to try to get back up on their feet. And I try to teach them the financial basics and something basic about credit. Like Darryl mentioned, 35% of the payment history is one of the main factors on your credit. So make your payments on time. 30%, and then 30% is your amount owed of your credit limit. So keep your revolving credit accounts low. Don't overutilize your credit. You want to keep that at 25% or lower. 15% is the length of credit history. So you need good credit history. One of the big mistakes people make is they figure, hey, well, I'm going to pay off my credit cards and I'm going to close my accounts. I'm going to close my credit cards. It's the biggest mistake they can make. So, those are some of the things that I just try to teach some of the basics, the importance of credit. Because if you don't have the credit, if your credit is shot, it's hard to really do anything else from that. And that's, going into business for yourself, because sooner or later, you're going to have a banking relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Sooner or later, you can try to go around it, back door here, back door, but sooner or later, you're going to have a banking relationship.
I love it. And so what I want to do in conclusion, just to make sure I'm respect for everybody's time, I want to see if we can actually do a promotional event around you doing a training class on walking through, so we're not rushed on personal credit, because we can't play at the level of A Donahue if we still got issues going on in our personal lives, right, with personal credit. And so we need to get, or where Terrell's at. So I think we need to get a personal breakout class, a 30, 45 minute, an hour class. We have some parents come out, students come out, and we can all kind of ask some questions. And it may be something where we do it in a private group so people feel comfortable. We don't go live, so people feel comfortable to actually tell you what's going on. And then you can start maybe addressing some real questions that they have going on. So I want to see if we can do that in the next 2 weeks. If you're just to give us enough time to promote it, and then get everybody to kind of kick out for that. But so are you willing to possibly? Okay, cool. So in conclusion, we said some great things. Yes.
Can I just add one more thing? About a loan program. I apologize. I don't know if you guys are familiar with a loan program called NACA, NACA.org.
Yeah, yes. Very familiar with it.
Yeah, NACA is a nonprofit. They work for the underserved. You can buy a fourplex with NACA, 100% financing, no mortgage insurance, no credit score requirement. They will look at your credit, but there's no credit score requirement. It's called America's Best Mortgage.
America's Best Mortgage, yes.
Right. Yep. They are a great program for the young people to buy a fourplex, as A Donahue said. Because they will loan it. They'll loan on new construction. They'll loan on a live workspace.
You have to be very disciplined and get through the program.
You have to, because they're processing.
I say that, but yes, go ahead.
Their processing takes some time, but it's worth it coming out on the other side. You can got a fourplex with a 2.35% interest, live in one unit. Because I've always said our biggest expenses is overhead and car. If you can eliminate or reduce those drastically, it's worth it.
Yes.
So I just wanted to see if you guys knew about that NACA program, and you have to be patient with it. Definitely be patient.
We'll put some information out. We'll put some information out on that, and then I'm gonna see if I can get a representative. But as Terrell said, they are a pain sometime in the rump shaker.
They are.
In conclusion, what piece of advice would you be able? Are you willing to share tonight that just to encourage somebody to commit to keeping it simple, mastering whatever everybody's wired different, right? Some people want to do real estate, some people don't. They want to do stocks, they want to have their own business, but they got to commit to something. So what advice would you give to somebody about staying the course? So I'll start out with Terrell.
You said me?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. One of the slogans that my dad gave me a long time ago is it's nothing but a step to a stepper. So keep stepping. So no matter how rocky the road goes, just stay the course. The other thing too that really keeps me focused, everything I do is I just think about when I look back over my life. I don't know everybody's life, but I can tell you that the Lord has never failed me. Never. Not one time has he failed me. Has things worked out the way I wanted to work out? No. But it was his timing is so perfect that he knew I wasn't ready for that opportunity that I thought I needed to be in, right? So in this entrepreneur life, if you don't have that faith base, I don't really know how you're making it. But I know every time, no matter how small, how big, how wide, or whatever, I know that he has never failed me. So just shoot your shot. The only shot that you're missing is the one you're not shooting. So every day, that's how I live my life. So if I can just leave anybody with the message is stay the course, and nobody knows your vision but you and him, and you can't lose. It's no way you can lose.
That's good. That's good. No way you can lose. Can't make the shot if you don't shoot it. Hey, Donnie, what you got for us?
Yeah, really quick. One of the things that I want to just leave people with is no matter what you want to do in life, you're going to need a team. So where you're at, you get with people, always networking is the key. You may meet someone and they may be on this level. Then you meet somebody else that's on this level. You have to be able to add value to everyone and create mutually beneficial relationships. So I just want to say that I'm honored to be on a panel with some great people. And if I can do anything or Money Avenue can do anything, please reach out. You can reach me at A. Donahue Baker on all platforms. I have a YouTube channel. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, pretty much all other platforms. But I'm here. I'm on this earth to network, to help other people reach their dreams. And, I'm very, very accessible. So just want to leave you guys with that note that if you need any kind of help, reach out. If it's advice or whatever, if I have time, it's yours.
In the next 5 years, he will be a billionaire. He's going to have a billion dollar company. I see that just from podcasts I've seen you on. So it's cool to be in your presence. Daryl, what you got for us?
I would say foundational. Get your consumer credit and your bookkeeping together. The foundational things. That's the seed that needs to be watered over time. Because that's once you get that seed planted, sky's the limit.
Yeah, that's good. Ken, take us out. And hey, I just want to make sure Darian, thank you for being out here. He's 28 years old. He's hungry. So me and him are going to talk offline. But I hope they were able to pour into you, as Ken says this last thing. I appreciate you, man, for just standing out here.
Thank you very much, man. I feel like I'm surrounded by some kings, man. And I can tell, man, the most important thing, what I would like to say is just be willing to soak in some knowledge, man. I'm soaking in a lot tonight.
I love it. Take us home, Ken.
Create a plan. Create a plan and stay focused on that plan. I mean, I think some of these brothers here are perfect examples of having a plan and having focus. Still focus. Do not get distracted. And trust that God is going to open up the doors for you. So that's all I have.
I love it. And the last thing that I'll say in conclusion is people think faith is crazy until you get the success. Y'all be blessed. Y'all take care of yourself.
Hey, Brother Donahue.
Yes, sir.
I'm looking at your YouTube page, man. Pretty good, buddy.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you.
I'm gonna get in touch with you, brother.
A. Donahue Baker on all platforms. Yeah.
All right.
Whatever platform you on, I'm on. How about that?
All right. I got you, man.
Yeah.
Y'all have a good night.
Likewise, man. Definitely. Pleasure. Thanks a lot, man. I love what you're doing here as well. Hopefully